Sit still, or you might fall. Oh, this kid. Didn't your teacher scold you? Didn't you get caught in the rain? Was your allowance enough? Your back might be damp. Don't forget to put a towel under your shirt, okay? If you're going to play with your brother and sister, don't go too far away. Don't climb up trees, or you might fall and sprain something. Come home before sunset. These are the things I've always heard from Inay ever since the beginning. I have this feeling that she says a lot of things, but they're all the same anyway. Inay says that when I was born, she got scared when she saw me. I was so small, she says. I was only as big as a liter sized soft drink bottle. All the same, she says she had a difficult time giving birth to me. That's why I am so careful with that child, is what I often hear her say whenever she and Aling Coring and Aling Rosie talk about me. And every time her friends see me, they always pinch my cheeks. I'm so cute, they say. Ouch! As a result, my cheeks feel sore all the time. Tatay inherited a mango farm. This is where our livelihood comes from. I'm the eldest child. After me come Melinda and Kokoy. Inay is the first to wake up in the morning to make breakfast and pack lunches for me and Tatay. Before I leave for school, Inay pulls out my allowance from the pocket of her shift dress. Take care, Teresa. Be cautious when you cross the street. When I come home from school, Inay is already there to meet me. How are you? Did you have trouble with your lessons? Didn't you get caught in the rain? Was your allowance enough? She has a lot of questions, the same ones over and over again. Sometimes I ask myself, doesn't Inay have anything else to say? I think my ears are starting to hurt from the constant reminders and questions. But every time any of us gets sick, Inay drops all of her work. She goes and talks to my uncle Yoyong, who also happens to be our neighbor. She'll have him take charge of bringing the ducks to the riverside and feeding them, and of feeding the pigs as well. Inay won't leave us by ourselves. After our checkup at the center, she'll pick some oranges and pomelos from the backyard. Eat this to bring down your fever. That is what she always says, and then she sponges us with lukewarm water, lays a dry towel on our backs, gives us a hug, and says it's so we can sweat out the fever. True enough, when I start to sweat, my high temperature subsides. Tatay always hands the money he earns from the mango farm to Inay. Sometimes, she takes me along to the nearest bank and deposits some of the money there. I need to save up for your schooling. You want to become a nurse, don't you? She looks at me closely as she says it. Afterwards, we go to the market. She'll buy meat, chicken, and fish. She tells me not to start pointing at things I want because she budgets the money on the more important things like food, household expenses, and my education. She says her expenses will get bigger when Melinda starts going to school. One day at school, I asked my classmate Almira why she was always absent and why she always has no allowance. She told me about her mother. She said She was sick. The doctor said it was a stroke. Stroke? I didn't understand. So I went to my teacher to ask what kind of disease Almira's mother had. Teresa, a stroke is a terrible illness. I've heard that Almira's mother can no longer speak, and she doesn't recognize people anymore. She can't recognize even Almira. Is that possible? One morning, when I went to school, I was shocked that Almira was bidding us goodbye. She told us that her parents couldn't afford to send her to school anymore. My mother probably won't get well. In her condition, she might not live much longer. That's what the doctor says. Amongst us classmates, Almira is the best at writing poetry. She recited a poem before she said goodbye to the class. Since childhood, Inay has stayed close to me. She's always with me through hardship and pain. From morning till night, she's always busy with work. At home, she never lets us out of her sight. I'm speaking to her now, and I hope she hears how grateful I am to her, not only for bringing me up, but for the caring and protection that cannot be matched by anyone else on earth. I love you, Inay. Now I've said it at last, but she's just like a statue and her gaze is blank. I say this to my classmates, my playmates, and my friends. Tell them how much you love them as often as you can. It takes less than a minute to say it aloud. I suddenly thought of Inay. When I got home, I quickly went to see Inay. She smiled at me and momentarily stopped feeding the ducks. How are you, Anak? Didn't your teacher scold you? Was your allowance enough? I didn't let Inay finish what she was saying. I threw my arms around her thighs and hugged them tight. I whispered, I love you, Inay. Inay stooped down so that our faces were level with one another. Anak, I love you, Inay. I tried to say it clearly and I gulped. Did she hear it? Why was I embarrassed? My mother gently placed her callous palms on my cheeks. I saw a sparkle in her eye. She suddenly smiled. In the few moments that it took to say the words, I knew that Inay felt absolutely happiness. Since then, I haven't wasted any opportunity to say, I love you, Inay. A moment is all you need. And it's really easy after all. Sit still or you might fall. Oh, this kid. Didn't your teacher scold you? Didn't you? Now, her reminders and questions are like music to my ears. And that's the end of the story about I Love You, Inay. Story by Segundo Matias Jr., illustrations by Ghani Madueno, published by Lampara Book. Remember, a mother's love will never end. It is there from beginning to end. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, Cher Irika. Until next time!